Welcome grade 11s. I'm just going to go through some extra information on risky behavior. This is taken from an additional resource, so you do not have access to it. So as I'm doing the video, you can pause if you would like to take any of this down for your project. So I'm just going to go through it at a normal pace, but obviously if you need to take down any of this information, you can always pause the video and take it down, right, or screen grab. So here, risky behavior in situations. It's not always possible to avoid risky situations. Look at the newspaper headlines about dangerous situations below, for instance. And it says here, a 16-year-old missing, last seen walking to school last Tuesday. The teenage girl's body found raped and strangled. 4 friends die in a smash after celebrating the end of exams. Young boy in intensive care after a hit and run. So these are very sad cases, and these are unavoidable cases or unavoidable accidents. It's not something they had control over. So we can look at the elements around this and how these sort of situations can be avoided as far as possible. Although we can't sort of avoid accidents, but we can have sort of best practices to not or lower our chances of being involved in an accident, right? So here, personal safety. Okay, always be aware of your surroundings. Prepare yourself for any kind of danger. So at home, if you're at home alone, never open the door for someone you don't know. Never admit that you are alone, either to someone at the door or to someone who telephones. In other words, whoever calls you. If a stranger comes to your door and says there is an emergency and they need to use your telephone, tell them you will make the call for them, but do not let them in. If you arrive home and you see that the door is not locked or there is a broken window, do not go in. Run to your neighbor or telephone or the police, right? So be vigilant, right? Not always just alone at home. There's other instances such as going outside. Always try and walk with other people. There's safety in numbers. If you have to walk somewhere by yourself, walk confidently with your head up. Don't look timid and frightened, even if that's how you feel inside. So in regards to this, it seems silly, but it does work. You gotta fake it till you make it, So pretend that you actually aren't frightened, even though you are. Just pretend that you are this is like a normal thing for you, so that you don't seem out of your element and an easy target. So you're trying to avoid being an easy target for perpetrators. Okay, so if you think someone is following you, go to a well-lit area where there are lots of people. Right, if a car stops and the person inside asks for directions, carry on walking or tell them the directions from a distance. Don't walk up to the car. Right. Road use. So now with my class, we spoke of looking left and right. I hope the rest of you look left and right when crossing a road. Okay, or street, sorry. Follow these rules to keep yourself safe on the road. Never let a friend drive you home if he or she is drunk. Never get into your car unless you know the driver is an experienced driver with a valid driver's license. Buckle up. Always wear a seat belt when traveling in a car. Cars have to be fitted with seat belts by law. So you never know when an accident is going to occur. And if you are not wearing a safety belt, you run the risk of severely injuring yourself or being flung outside the vehicle. And it happens a lot of the time. A lot of silly accidents occur, and a lot of people could have had less injuries if they had the correct precautions in place, such as wearing a safety belt. Watch the speed. If the driver of the car is speeding, tell him or her to slow down. Right? You are in the car. You can sort of navigate whether the person you're driving with is suitable or capable of driving, and whether their driving is, good or bad. And you can comment on that. Don't sit silently and sort of fate your death. So rather be safe than sorry. Then do not ride on a motorbike, without a helmet. So obvious one, you need a helmet. Don't ride a bicycle, especially in a city, without a helmet. Obviously, you need to have a helmet on. Know the rules of the road. As a pedestrian, don't jaywalk, cross the road at the traffic light or a zebra crossing. So a lot of the times, and I know in I don't know if it's just South Africa, but we do jaywalk a lot, and it's very dangerous. You need to cross where the street sort of begins, because a lot of the times you'll find there's a stop street there, there's a pedestrian crossing there is robots, and that will sort of allow drivers to slow down and be observant of people. It is illegal for you to just cross the street. Right, for those that didn't know, it's illegal for you to just cross the street, not at a designated crossing point. And it might seem a bit more laxed here, but in like overseas, different countries, you cannot jaywalk. So don't be tempted to jaywalk. I know this is a difficult one, but it's safer to rather cross at safer points, like ends of roads. Don't travel in a car with the windows wound down. Someone could grab your belongings at the stop street or robot, right? So rather have your window like pulled up halfway. Okay. So for instance, if you look at this picture, if you look at his window, right, a thief would have to dip in to get something, whereas with here it's free access. Okay. So generally try and keep your window, I'd say, about safe distance here to allow some, breathing room for your face. Some air to go in, but also keep you safe, right? Look out for hijackers. If someone looks suspicious or is waiting by your gate or driveway when you get home, drive around the block or go to the police, right? So, substance use and abuse. Substance abuse involves taking substances into your body that are harmful to your health and well-being and could even be fatal. These substances include tobacco, alcohol, and illegal drugs. There's a lot of pressure on young people to smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, and take drugs. Also, there is pressure not to use these substances. In the end, it is up to you as an individual to make up your own mind. If you are to have a responsible attitude towards your health and well-being, you need to know where these influences are coming from and how you are going to deal with them. Look at the spider diagram below, which show a range of influences. So sometimes it's family influences. Sometimes you'll find that you see these coping mechanisms from parents. So if, let's say, your mom gets stressed or your dad gets stressed and they decide to have a cigarette, smoke break, and relieve their stress, these are coping mechanisms you grow up with and see around you as ways or solutions to problems. So sometimes it can come from family influences, right? And sometimes you can see it in TV programs, right? So TV or the media, right, sort of influences our choices in that it shows us what is idealistically supposed to be the cool thing or the way to go about doing things, and they sort of set the trend. Okay, so let's say all the celebs are now into crop tops, so everyone wears crop tops because it's a trend. So smoking and drug abuse and alcohol and all of those things, and associated with the media, because they sort of set the trend of what is idealistically supposed to be cool, or what everyone should be doing, or what are the new trends. So sometimes not just from family, but it also can come from the media. All right, it can also come from your friends. There's that saying that says, if you want to show me who you are, show me who your friends are. And it's so true. Honestly speaking, you would find that the friends we keep are generally a reflection of ourselves. So, and it also has an effect on the sense of self. If you're a little fishy, like I was saying to my class, if you're a little fishy and you're in a pond, the pond around you is supportive to your sort of lifestyle. So like, let's say you're freshwater fish, you're going to exist in fresh water. But let's say a bad influence comes in and puts salt water into your pond. You are not going to survive. So be wary of the energy people bring into your life. So hold people responsible for the energy they bring into your life. And be note of your friends if they're actual friends. Actual friends are friends that care about you, friends that do not wish to see you harm yourself. Okay, so encourage good behavior and a healthier lifestyle as friends for one another. Okay, then personal influences. Sometimes you as yourself need a sort of acceptance. Let's say you need affirmation from others, so you influence yourself to do things that you are not necessarily comfortable with, right? So the examples they give, for instance, is a need for status. You need to be the it guy, so to say. You're bored and need stimulation, so you're finding other ways to kill your time. You're curious about the effects of substances. Curiosity kill the cat. So you decide where to take that. Every conscious of healthy life, very conscious of healthy lifestyle. So if you are very conscious of a healthy lifestyle, and I know this is why there was a lot of programs, sporting programs, in and out of areas that had very high drug abuse and substance abuse. Because if you were a sportsman and you focused on your sports, you would not necessarily do things that would hamper you being the best sports person. So, like it says, you're a keen sports person, but I feel these two go hand in hand somewhatly. In that, because you are a sports person, you are not necessarily going to want to keep an unhealthy lifestyle. Okay. Then influences from school. So school rules ban the use of substances on the school grounds. So teachers who smoke and abuse alcohol or drugs, right? So easy access to illegal drugs. So sometimes the school environment can influence you, but remember, you are responsible for your own choices. Okay, so this is an impact as well. So it's not just yourself, your friends, it's also the school environment as well. So let's say if drugs are easily available in the school, it'll be easier for you to get your hands on it. Or let's say it's easy to find a place to smoke in the school. So it would become a trend to sort of smoke because it's not difficult to find a place. But if it was more difficult, then you would be more reluctant to go through all of that effort, So yeah, that's the school environment. And that concludes part 1. I will continue in the next part.